I think one of the things is it's the misunderstanding that when you get X amount of external results, it will fix internal voids, when in reality you get so much external results that are so far beyond what you can handle from a character, confidence, competence, self-belief, self-worth thing that it like breaks you.
And then on top of that too, everyone now has a higher expectation of you. Now you're expected to perform at that level from now on and sustain it and grow it. Not only just at that level, you have to now grow it.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Today, for episode what number is it? 1,873. It's Freestyle Friday. For those of you who may be new here to NLU, welcome to the family, number one. Number two, Freestyle Friday means we don't really know what we're going to talk about. We're just going to talk about it, and then we'll figure out what we're going to talk about. But I kind of cheated today because I had an idea. You ever have quotes come to you?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with them? You just throw them in the garbage? You save them for later? Depends.
I was asked on a podcast yesterday. I almost thought of your quote, actually. He said, I open every episode with your favorite quote. I thought to myself, favorite? There's a lot of them. And the one that came to mind, I didn't say this on the interview because I thought of a better one after, was you are afraid that all of you is not enough, or you're afraid that all of you is too much. That's one for you. That was
It's not mine. For me, that ain't it. It doesn't really resonate with me as much as it does you. It's a good quote.
It's really powerful.
I think it's good. It's just not
mine.
There's
two types of people. There's people that are fearful, and then there's liars.
It's a fact.
Just fearful of different things.
Everybody's afraid of something.
Who knew?
Not me. I thought I was the one that was afraid of everything, and nobody else was afraid of anything. Come to find out, that's actually not true.
It's not true. I do remember when you used to think that. Everyone seems so confident. No, they're faking it.
Yeah, they're better at faking than you are. What was the quote you used?
Things need to be as simple. So I think it was Einstein. Emilia says he stole it from Aristotle. I'm not sure. But what I do know is it's a powerful quote. Make everything as simple as possible, but not any simpler than it should be. The reason I like that, that's what I come with.
Interesting.
Because I'm overwhelmed right now in this chapter, and I need to make things simpler.
Okay. This is the quote that sparked this episode. So I kind of cheated. I kind of know what we're going to talk about, but I came up with it right before this. Don't get necessary and enough confused. One of the things that we've been talking about a lot since we've started this is consistency. You can't win without consistency. And we did an episode recently where consistency isn't enough. Consistency is necessary, but it's not enough.
Nice.
And I was thinking of, you can really put that in anything. You and I we had someone in the past we were talking to, and they were being courted by a potential partner. And they said, well, this person's this and this and this, but they're super nice. And you and I, after, were thinking to ourselves, isn't that a requirement at this point? That's not a benefit. That's a requirement. It's like that's a necessary thing. Of course they are. What are they? You're not going to date someone who's not nice. If you know that from the very beginning, you're probably not going to you're not going to pursue that. You wouldn't come to me and say, I found this new car. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful car. And it's got all 4 tires. It's like, no, I assume it does. I assume it would have all 4 tires. That's necessary to have a car that's nice and that works. If it doesn't have 4 tires, it's not useful. You can't use it. So for some reason, that was on my mind because I think that, I don't know. I think it's easy, and I know we talked about this recently, so I don't want to do the entire episode on this, and I'm sure we'll go off track, but it's very easy just to fall into, there's enough. I have enough now. I'm doing enough now. I'm doing the things I'm supposed to be doing now. When I think the ultimate goal is always to do them and then do them better and then do them more. And then eventually that becomes the normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then how do you, this is a good question for you since it's applicable to you right now. How do you know when you're reaching I don't want to say your potential because we talked about that too. How do you know when you're reaching the optimal amount that you're supposed to be doing?
This is good stuff, man. I appreciate it. This is like the new version of hyperconscious.
We're trying to figure out who the F we are.
I think
Like
you're trying to
just-
figure out who the F you are, which
I am trying to figure out
I am
who the
too.
F I am.
in a different way. I just got off therapy earlier. Oh God, in a good way.
I was going to say, quite a shining endorsement for therapy.
Yeah.
Please do it. It's good for you.
No, it is. It is good, but
Right,
it's going to be hard.
decent.
That's all good things are on the other side of hard things, unfortunately. How do you know when what you're doing is optimal?
Can I reframe real quick?
Oh yeah.
Because I also did a video of this the other day. I said one of the reasons success is so hard is because even if you do the right thing, there's always a lag time between you doing the right thing and then getting expected results.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know? Yeah, that's the encompassing question. How do you know whether to continue doing the things or to pivot?
I sent this to the NLU team yesterday, and I think this is a really, really good understanding of how we got here. So I said, also NLU team, I totally forgot to bring this up on the team huddle because we were running short on time. Kevin and I have started experimenting a little bit with Instagram threads. Might be a cool way to connect with listeners/community members. We'll see. Just wanted to throw that out there in case anyone else wants to join us in that experimentation. So I've never heard of it until recently. I have a client who's using it. And then I told you about it. And yeah, I mean, we'll see, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said NLU improvement system. Number 1, contemplate ideas. Number 2, assess pros and cons. Number 3, run an experiment. Number 4, do it long enough to see results or no results. Number 5, eliminate if results aren't great and double down if they are great. And then 6 is iterate and improve over time. I know that this sounds corny. I know it sounds silly. But the scientific method is you have a hypothesis, you test it, you run an experiment, and then you run the experiment long enough to actually see results. Which that's the question, right? Is when do you stop? How do we know? Okay, so let's say we do threads, you and I both, and we dabble. My brain is going to say, okay, based on time and effort in, is this bringing the results we want? Are we connecting with more podcasters? Are we connecting with more listeners? Are we helping more people? Are we inspiring, motivating, educating? Are we bringing more people together? Are we bringing more people to the show, right? So there's certain results we're looking for. Everything we do in life is for a result. James Clear in Atomic Habits, he uses this simple example. He says, when you walk into a dark room and you flick on the light without thinking, you want a result. The result is to see what's in the room. Everything we do is for a result. Most of it happens to be unconscious. That's why my therapy call earlier was so hard, is because I realized, oh, there's a part of me that's still running that to try to prove that. And it's, oh, God. So now what do I do? What do I do now? And that's what I'm in right now. But ultimately, everything you're doing in life is for a result. You have to look at where your time and effort is going and why. What's the result you're trying to get, consciously or unconsciously? And then do it long enough to see whether or not it's working or not. And here's the truth, to your point. Sometimes an experiment is a day. Sometimes it's a week. Sometimes it's a month. Sometimes it's a quarter. So you have to do it longer than you think you should have to do it. That's what I would say, because most people will not succeed because they didn't do things long enough to get results, rather than they did it too long. If that makes sense.
I was going to say, you get a chance here at a world-class quote. Do not screw this up.
I almost did. One of the reasons you and I have been able to achieve what we've achieved, and again, we're still at the very beginning, so I don't want that to come off wrong, but we've been running experiments for the last almost 8 years, podcasting, coaching, training, speaking, online course. I mean, the 22 departments that we had, all of those were experiments. And some experiments failed and some experiments succeeded, and then we doubled down on the ones that succeeded. but we did them longer than we should have in most cases. That's why I'm always saying how, we really screwed up X, Y, Z. What I'm really saying is we cooked that turkey too long. We overcooked that turkey. Turkey. I had a mutual friend of ours, Matt. He stomped everyone at his first fitness show. And I remember thinking to myself, well, he should have been doing fitness shows much earlier then. Because you're supposed to lose your first show.
Yeah, see, that doesn't resonate with me.
Well, the reason it doesn't is because if you lose your first show, you might not ever do it again.
Well, I think
so.
It's a
If
high
you're playing a
belief
long game, you should be losing as much as you're winning. If you're playing a short game, you want to. If you're only going to do one fitness show, you're going to want to win that thing.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do fitness shows for over and over and over again, if you win your first one, you obviously should have been doing fitness shows long before that, because you could have potentially won.
My thought is the longer your time perspective, the more you probably believe in yourself.
I think the more you believe in yourself, the longer your time perspective. But it's
chicken or egg, yeah.
It's both, yeah. You have a longer time perspective now, yeah?
For sure.
I think if you have enough belief, your mind will... So let's say your belief is a 7 out of 10. I bet you your time perspective is a 6 out of 10. Probably lagging behind belief, because it's actually a mental muscle that you are now using that you wouldn't use unless you have belief, in a way.
It's still super hard, though. Somebody asked me today on a podcast, they said, where do you think you'll be in 5 years? And I was like, I have no freaking clue. I don't know. I have an idea of what I'll be, but there's a drastic difference between what I'll be and where I'll be. Those are two very, very different things. Where I'll be, I'm going to be doing the same shit every day, baby. Same thing I do now. Nothing's going to change there. The way I do it, better. That's what I said. But, like, do I know exactly where I'll live? No. Do I know? No. Because I think a lot of that is... It's
we
almost...
could do this easily. You'd have a home, right? You're going to have...
But the thought process... Farm. The thought process, in 5 years, I'm going to have a farm?
Well, a little one. Start small. Maybe
I want
a
a big
one.
Farm.
I know that, but...
Or no farm. Son.
I want to win the show or not do shows at all.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the all or
I'll
nothing
just wait.
thing.
I'll just wait until I can have a big farm. That's a little different.
No, I don't know, though, because you got to figure out if you can handle a small farm before you buy a big one.
Lock myself right into that. I got Larry the llama.
That's right.
Daryl the donkey. I'm going to figure this out. But this is the other thing, though. It's different when you're setting... So we talk a lot about goals and goal setting and process and results and character goals and all that. The business results dictate the lifestyle results.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, it depends on what happens with the business. I know
and
what
for
I
anyone
want.
out there listening, it's career. If you don't have a business,
yes,
it's the career results
dictate
you and your partner.
Results.
Dictate your lifestyle results.
Yeah.
Is that okay? As an engineer, yes.
Yes.
I'm an engineer, so now I have permission to, as Kevin would say, be a dick or be a ass. You say ass.
We're gonna get you an ass hat. That's what we'll do. And when you say I'm an engineer, you can hover the ass hat over.
Yeah. Did you just call me an ass hat?
I think so.
That's funny. Yeah. Indirectly.
Indirectly.
Kevin just called me an ass hat publicly. Indirectly. So I'm an engineer. My question for you, as someone who's never not reverse engineered visioneering the vision. I was looking at my old vision boards. Dude, what a trip.
I remember.
Some of them
I can hit you with one right off the top of my head. Oh, my goodness. It was you wanted to be on the cover of an adult book.
Oh. You would pick that one out.
That's the one I remember. I remember thinking like,
Literotica.
That's wildly specific.
As a model. I was a fitness model.
No, and I'm not. Hey, look, I'm not.
You're missing the fitness magazines. I was going to be on the cover
I'm not
of fitness
throwing
magazines.
anything. No negativity on that.
Magazines
I just remember
are gonzo.
I just remember seeing it. It's like
yeah. So I was a fitness model back then, but ultimately, I looked at the old vision boards. Some of the things have come true, and some of them I decided not to do. That being one of them, and some of them are still on the way. And I love doing this. I think it's underrated. Everyone think about when you were in I don't know, freshman in high school. Think about things that you wanted. You wanted to get married. Maybe you didn't. I don't know. Yeah, you definitely didn't. Because you told your girlfriend at the time, I don't think I'm ever going to get married.
Yep.
You could tell that story after if you want to. That was pretty stupid. But that's okay. So think of, okay, you wanted to get a car, you wanted to have your own place, you wanted to have a job, you wanted, when you're a kid, you have all these things that you want. And most of them actually do come true. Not all of them, right? If you wanted to be an astronaut, maybe that didn't work. I don't know. But our dreams and goals, a lot of them do actually come true.
Next Level Nation, what is happening? If you've thought to yourself, I want to try coaching, but you don't really know where to start, group coaching would be a wonderful place for you. That's really why we created it in the first place. We start a new round every 90 days. So if you're hearing this, go to the website, nextleveluniverse.com, and we have the landing page where you can actually hold your spot right now. Even if there's a group going on right now, you can still lock your spot for the next one. The biggest thing that we've seen is as we get closer and closer to the date, unfortunately, some people end up missing. The group fills up and they can't do it, and then they end up regretting that. So please head over to the website. The link will be in the show notes, and we would love to see you there. You're going to ask me a question. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get to it. You know what I mean?
How do you achieve goals if you're not reverse engineering it?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I'm jaded in this because you're the one who's kind of doing it. I will only be as successful as you let me be. Kind of. Or you help me be. Let me be. Let me cancel that. As you help me be. Not let me be. But in a way, let me be. Like, I could afford a more expensive car than I have right now, but you won't let me, which is good. It's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It'll be
That's
wildly
why
reckless.
Let is the wrong.
We would go out of business. So,
Or
honestly,
you'd have to work way harder. So
even then, it's like, I don't think that would be the play.
No, it's not optimal.
I don't think. No. But just
all
as
this
an example,
comes down to that optimal thing.
Well, I think the hard part is the person with a higher awareness is the one that's in more control. And I don't want to keep using money as an example. It's just easier to explain. But if I was going to go buy something, I would have to ask you, like, can I afford that? Like, is that something I can afford? So I don't know where I'll be in 5 years. It depends on where do you think we'll be in 5 years? That's what depends. I don't know. We've been doing this for 7 years, 8 years, whatever. You think I had any clue 5 years ago that I'd be here today?
Yeah, that's been blowing my mind because this isn't just true for me. This, I think, is true for everyone. Think of where you have the highest awareness, whatever that is. That means that you can see further into the future in that thing. Sure. So in
100%.
bodybuilding, you probably have a pretty good idea of what you're going to look like in 5 years, right?
Yes, and I think I can control what I look like.
Well, that's my
More.
point.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. I
Yeah.
feel like I can control the business outcome within reason.
Well, it's awareness and control.
Well, awareness creates the opportunity for control.
Yes, but it creates the opportunity for it. Does not guarantee.
Awareness plus work ethic. This is getting so. What's a good metaphor? We need a good metaphor. Okay, if you and I are on a sailboat,
Grab the jib.
and we're headed out to sea.
Of course. Where else would we be headed?
Neither
Of course. Here we go.
And neither one of us knows how to sail very well. You ever sail?
Never in my life.
Okay, one time with like not a real sailboat for me.
Cool.
You and I would be absolutely
Dead.
screwed.
Yeah, we'd die
100%
probably.
screwed, probably. Yeah. With Emilia, she was on the D1 racing sail team for Providence College. So she's a really strong sailor. So with her, we could go to where we want. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? And we would go to whatever port we want within reason. And yeah, there's going to be storms and you need certain equipment and blah, blah, blah. But with Emilia, we're good to go. Let's rock and roll. Where do you feel like going? With me and you? I mean, we're pretty much going to have to learn along the way and hopefully not die. And I feel like in business, that's why you need a business coach. That's exactly it. It's just you tell me where you want to go, and then I can help you dial in how to get there, because I know how to get there.
Yeah.
I've not only helped someone else. I have a lot of real estate people that I coach. I coach so many people in real estate, but there'll be these real estate agents at networking events and stuff. And I remember talking to some of them, and they get really annoyed because they think they know more about real estate than I do, and they'll start teaching me stuff. And I'll sit there and listen and try to be polite or whatever, but it's just funny to me because they don't know that I know. I coach people like that are way more successful than you in real estate. Like, you think just because you're a real estate agent, you know, you don't think I know real estate? But then I wonder, well, of course, why would they think I know real estate?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm an electrical engineer, computer engineer rather. That's one thing that's really wonky. I'm starting to get it. Why would anyone think I knew these things?
I've been saying that to you for years.
I know, but it never landed, brother, because I'm in shape.
Alan's going to blame me.
And I know how to get in shape. To me, it makes perfect sense. It does. It makes sense. It never clicked before.
If you were a bajillionaire, people would assume you know more about money than maybe even you do. Right? If you had a 12-pack, people would assume you know more about fitness than you do right now.
Yeah.
It's just that. That's all it is. If you took away all the podcast results, people would assume we wouldn't know anything. Of course, that's natural.
That
right?
makes sense, yeah. It does
make sense. If you knew more, you'd be more successful.
But as someone who... But here's there's a conundrum there, and I'm glad we're talking about this. You have to have awareness first. The results are lagging.
Yes, but someone that has as high of awareness as you, we're not going to get the results that match your awareness for another 50 years.
Not
so
50,
you're always...
but at least like 5, 10, 15, 20.
Well,
so your awareness in podcasting...
Your awareness is going to increase, though. Your awareness is always going to exceed your results.
So I have this digital asset of these two. You remember how you and I talked way back in the hyperconscious days about how you understand why some of these really famous people struggle with mental health? Definitely. And you said okay, can you go into that real quick? Because that's exactly what this framework is that I'm about to bring in.
Oh man, I think one of the things is it's the misunderstanding that when you get X amount of external results, it will fix internal voids. When in reality, you get so much external results that are so far beyond what you can handle from a character, confidence, competence, self-belief, self-worth thing that it like breaks you. It's like I can't handle all of the love that I'm getting or all of the awards or all of the accolades or all of the opportunities or all of the abundance. Like, I can't handle this.
Yeah,
I thought it was going
like
to fix
you can't
things.
Sustain it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like it probably, again, this was my experience and I was not famous in any of that, but I was more successful than I ever thought I was going to be. I thought it was going to fix my problems. If anything, I felt guilt that it didn't fix my problems. It was like, I should feel way better than I do. Why don't I feel better? I can't imagine if that $100,000 I made a year was $1 million a year. Or if the apartment I lived in was a mansion. Or if the car was, I was an artist or an actor or a producer or a musician. Like, I can only imagine how that might break your psyche.
And then on top of that, too, everyone now has a higher expectation of you. Now you're expected to perform at that level from now on and sustain it and grow it. Not only just at that level, you have to now grow it. And if you're, so there's these two circles that I have, a digital asset that I pull up. Let me actually do this.
You got to pop in a minute, just FYI.
These are called the growth zones, I want to say. 1 second.
The growth zones.
I have everything named. Nice. Impostor circle versus growth circle. All right, so on the left, you have the outer, so each is 3 circles. The outer part on the imposter circle is your results are much bigger than your awareness and your capabilities. That's what you were talking about with you. Your results of 100K a year were much, and the sports car and the model girlfriend and the apartment in Boston, your results exceeded your awareness and your capabilities. You almost didn't know how you did it, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Yep.
Therefore, you can't sustain it or replicate it or grow it, scale it. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you for being honest about that. That's the imposter circle. The growth circle is the opposite. This is where you are now, I think, in some things. Your results are actually far smaller than your awareness and capabilities. You know how to grow a podcast, and you're capable of growing a podcast way more than these results.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, to me, the growth circle is fulfillment. The imposter circle is empty. And whenever I found myself in the imposter circle, it was for a short time. I failed my first engineering course. And I remember going, I am so screwed. I have financial aids and scholarships. I was the physics guy. I got all the awards. And now I'm drinking too much. I'm not going to class. I'm screwed. I gotta get around the smartest people, and I gotta work. Because if I lose this scholarship, I'm screwed. And I'm going to go all the way back to where I came from, so to speak. So it was a lot of pressure. Now, fortunately, I didn't crack like a walnut. Fortunately, I had self-belief. And fortunately, I surrounded myself with people that were geniuses. And they were my roommates and all that kind of stuff. And so we all worked together. And we pulled all-nighters and whatever it took. But the growth circle is where we are now. After 26, after my car accident, we started focusing on self-improvement. We improve ourselves way more than our results. I think you and I, as human beings, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, awareness and capabilities are way greater than any of the results we've achieved.
I would agree, for sure.
Yeah. And so the results are they're lagging. There's leading indicators and lagging indicators. I was coaching, I don't want this to feel like a flex, but whatever. So I was coaching one person that was at Disney for 20 years and one person at Netflix for 20 years. And it was really cool because they were talking about leading and lagging indicators. And a leading indicator is I'm doing these workouts. I'm doing 7 workouts a week. A lagging indicator is your abs. Abs are a lagging indicator of what you were doing. So there's inputs and outputs and cause and effect. And so I know this went off the rails, but cause and effect is so
Freestyle
important
Friday.
because if you don't know how you achieve the results, you don't know how to double down, you don't know what to do. And if you're in that spot, find someone who has higher awareness. If it's not a coach, grab a mentor. Just make sure you only learn from them in their awareness zone, because if they start teaching you, I've had some mentors that start teaching me relationships and they're very, very unfulfilled in their relationships. So you got to be real careful with that.
Well, I've said this, and I'm not saying this is, you should do it. I'm not saying put a Post-it note of this and make it your thing. It's not about what you know, it's about what you can show. I'm not saying that's the way it should be, but that's the reason why. It's, if I can tell you I know a ton, but if I don't have the results, you're not going to believe me. If I have the results, you might think I know more than I actually do. Because if you don't know how I accomplished it, you're just guessing. It's like, well, yeah, you must know everything about fitness or relationships or wealth or cars or whatever, music, whatever it may be. All right, we're going to go because you're going to get on a hot podcast and they're going to hate me if I don't get you there on time. Next Level Nation, a wonderful group of like-minded humans who are into growth, self-improvement, all the weird stuff that we talk about, hyper-consciousness. Alan has coaching spots available, offering free 30-minute sessions for anybody who has not done them. I have coaching slots available if you're looking for podcast coaching, free 30-minute podcast sessions, obviously. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep after it. Next Level Nation.